Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel just listed Black Panther 3 on an industry production tracking site with a new title for the movie and a plot synopsis, so we'll break it all down. It's also been reported that we're going to see a new Black Panther during Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, in addition to Shuri, who we all know will at least start those movies still wearing the mantle of Black Panther because of all the behind the scenes showing her in a new Black Panther suit, and Letitia Wright saying that she would get an upgraded suit in the movie. Marvel still has a couple of reshoots for Avengers Doomsday, but they're mostly done filming that movie. Secret Wars is supposed to start filming around April 2026, so don't be surprised if we start seeing more of these multiple Black Panthers then. We are supposed to get that Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer before Avatar 3 in a couple weeks. I'm not expecting to see a bunch of different Black Panthers running around in that. I think they're going to hold way back on the stuff they actually show in that trailer. Knowing Marvel and what they did with Chairwatch, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to show us a clip show and claim that it's the new Avengers Doomsday trailer. So whatever they do wind up releasing, of course I will do videos for it. Marvel has done stuff like that in the past, where they'll cobble together trailers from old footage. Please don't do that to us, Marvel. Please show us some actual footage from Avengers Doomsday. Supposedly it's just going to lean very heavily on Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, so we'll see about that. What did they actually wind up putting in that trailer? Recently, a professional industry site that tracks movie and TV show production in the UK listed a Black Panther 3 start date of June 15th, 2026. That's pretty close. That date might get pushed. Sometimes Marvel and all Hollywood studios in general, not just Marvel, have to book their sound stages that they want to use for filming years in advance because they're so in demand. So you always have to look at these filming dates as just temporary placeholders. But because Black Panther 3 is meant to release just a couple months after Avengers Secret Wars, don't be surprised if both of those movies, Secret Wars and Black Panther 3, start filming around the same time. Probably the more interesting detail in this, though, if you actually look at what the production listing says, on the site they officially list the title is Shadows of Wakanda, and the official synopsis reads, "The movie will explore Wakanda's vulnerability after T'Challa's death, with Shuri stepping up as both warrior and leader."
Was not a decision we made lightly.
Doesn't that kind of sound like the plot of Black Panther Wakanda Forever? T'Challa dies at the beginning of the movie, they hold his funeral, then Wakanda is weakened politically and on a military level to the point that Namor is able to invade and kill a ton of them, including Ramonda, before Shuri can step up as the new Black Panther and they roll out their Midnight Angels armor suits. So part of me thinks that this Black Panther 3 Shadows of Wakanda synopsis is also just a temporary placeholder and they'll eventually change the title of the movie as well. But it does imply that the movie might have a slightly darker tone just because of what's happening with the Avengers Secret Wars soft reboot. So when they talk about the aftermath of a really big event here, that might still stick because the movie will have to deal with the aftermath of Secret Wars, and it's going to be a major change to the MCU. Kevin Feige did his big Marvel Phase 7 panel a couple months ago. I did a much bigger video for it, so I'll link it below in the description. But during that, he did confirm that there's going to be a soft reboot with Secret Wars. Black Panther 3, like I said, still scheduled to be right after that in February 2028, meaning that that will be the first movie that will have to address some of the changes going on inside the MCU. Based on Kevin Feige's talk, he said they're using that as a way to sort of retcon, reboot, I guess you could say, Mutants, X-Men, the new Fantastic Four into the 616 MCU universe from all these different universes so that everybody thinks they've always existed on the same Earth and nobody thinks that it's weird. So the idea is that heading into Marvel Phase 7, the balance of power has been altered fundamentally inside the MCU, whereas before, Wakanda was the unquestioned, most powerful, most defensible nation in the world. They literally used it to defend against Thanos during Infinity War. Heading into Marvel Phase 7, that's not exactly the case. We also have the dead Celestial in the Indian Ocean, adamantium being shared amongst major world powers, so Wakanda no longer has their vibranium advantage that they did before. There's also the idea this new T'Challa Black Panther they're introducing as he comes of age takes the mantle of both Black Panther and the King of Wakanda from Shuri and M'Baku because he's still king right now before Doomsday, and we know that Denzel Washington will be a big part of the movie thanks to his leaking. Does not absolutely care at all what Marvel's going to do to him. He's Denzel Washington, he can do whatever he wants. Nate Moore, Kevin Feige's former chief lieutenant, who's still the lead producer on Black Panther 3, even though he left the studio. You might have seen him. He's actually on Survivor right now. There's an actual big Marvel producer from the Black Panther and the Captain America movies on Survivor right now. He actually said Marvel still hasn't thought about recasting Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa specifically, meaning that it sounds like Marvel is still planning on aging up his son, Toussaint, whose real name is T'Challa, son of T'Challa.
My name is Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa.
So without more evidence, it seems like Marvel is just pushing forward with that plan that they set up at the end of Wakanda Forever. I think the idea is that Marvel may see this as their way to have their cake and eat it too, like not recasting, but still allowing themselves to have a T'Challa Black Panther in the movies. But here's the thing, they still kind of have to recast, because if they want an adult version of that younger T'Challa character, they have to age him up because he's so young in Wakanda Forever. My early theory right now is that they'll just hand wave some of that and they'll use Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars with all the time travel and multiverse craziness to explain how they age him up enough by the events of Black Panther 3 so that it all makes sense. I also fully expect to see other multiverse Black Panthers at some point in the next Avengers movie somewhere, so do not be surprised if there are more than 2 showing up somewhere in Easter eggs, like we had all that leaked concept art from what seemed like was Avengers Secret Wars in another version of T'Challa. This could just be that other mystery Black Panther that people have been saying will show up in those movies. Recently, Damson Idris and Angela Bassett, Ramonda herself, seemed like they were stoking a lot of the rumors about him becoming that new Black Panther at their big Marvel event recently. They just had a huge event in Hollywood featuring the cast of the Black Panther movies. You can see most of the major actors from the film walking around here. But you can actually see they featured the Dora Milaje, like they brought back Angela Bassett as Queen Ramonda, who was supposed to be dead in present day after Namor killed her after Wakanda Forever. She was leading this show. They brought back Danai Gurira, who was in her full Dora Milaje suit, leading a bunch of other Dora Milaje, as well as a bunch of male warriors in Wakandan suits. Men aren't allowed to be part of the Dora Milaje, though. They'd either be Hatut Zaraze or just common infantry in their army. You also probably recognize Teyana Taylor even became a Dora Milaje for the event. I don't know if she's supposed to be in Black Panther 3 or joining the Dora Milaje. I assume she just joined them for this particular event. But the real reason why people were freaking out was that Damson Idris was featured at the event arm in arm with Angela Bassett while she was actually leading the event. He wasn't wearing a traditional Wakandan suit, but the fact that they focused so much here on the two of them being together, like she was supporting him as much as he was supporting her, fueled a lot of theories that he is Marvel's current top pick to become the new T'Challa Black Panther because Marvel is doing so much stuff at this event with Vogue. So a lot of people viewed this as Marvel soft launching their new Black Panther to gauge fan reaction. Marvel does that sometimes. This isn't one of their now famous leaks that they leak themselves to generate hype. Like they're not purposefully leaking their new Black Panther or anything like that. But because Damson Idris himself has talked publicly about becoming the new Black Panther so much recently, he and Angela Bassett definitely seem like they did this on purpose. Like this is the Queen Ramonda endorsing the new Black Panther. They are definitely leaning into all of this fan speculation and all this news. He was amazing in the F1 movie if you didn't see it. The movie itself did gangbusters performance as well too. You all probably remember earlier this year all the Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars concept art that leaked out depicting a new T'Challa Black Panther that looked just like him. So already it seemed like Marvel was considering him to be one of those characters, and now you see him rolled out with a whole bunch of Marvel Black Panther actors at a big event. And then recently, during an interview for the F1 movie that he's in right now, kind of confirms that he is talking to Marvel about being that new Black Panther.
The next Black Panther. Have you had any conversations about that? Yes or no?
Yes, no.
By the way, the yes, no means yes.
That is exactly what you say when you're definitely in talks with Marvel and you don't want to get shot by Kevin Feige and his snipers. Just look at some of the big Marvel actors that are here standing around with them. So this is Ayo Edebiri. She was supposed to play Mockingbird in the Thunderbolts movie, Val's assistant, but she had a scheduling conflict and had to drop out. You probably recognize Laura Harrier standing right next to her. She played Liz, the Vulture's daughter, during Spider-Man Homecoming. Jeff Goldblum, the Grand Master, is standing right behind them. You probably recognize Regé-Jean Page on Angela Bassett's other side. This is Lakeith Stanfield right behind them. And way back there, you might recognize Elizabeth Debicki's head poking over the background. She played Ayesha during the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. In way back in the right, like way tiny, is Kyle MacLachlan. So it is full of Marvel actors and actors who are also associated with Marvel. But I do think that Marvel has wanted to do more of the traditional big Black Panther stories from the comics and make them more comic book accurate. It's just that the past couple of years, they've had a big problem doing that with Chadwick Boseman passing away and then them having to pivot to Shuri Black Panther. So I think likely Shuri will be the main Black Panther at the beginning of Black Panther 3. Then by the end of that movie, she will have given up the mantle. And it'll either be a recast version of T'Challa that shows up, or it'll be the younger T'Challa Jr. who they've aged up to the point where he can actually take the mantle. This was the big arc that Ryan Coogler said that he wanted to tell with the Black Panther stories that they'll likely incorporate to Black Panther 3. The thing about that story is that he doesn't need to make T'Challa Jr. the new Black Panther yet in order to tell that, but it makes more sense if he is the new Black Panther, so we'll see how that all plays out. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below. What story do you actually want them to use for Black Panther 3? It just feels like they have a really, really big opportunity open to them here. Like I said, we're supposed to be getting more trailers at CCXP, and that Avengers Doomsday trailer is supposed to come a little bit later before Avatar 3, so of course I will do all the videos for all those things as they do release them. Make sure to enable alerts for my channel to be the first to watch those. Everybody click here for that new Thanos video that I just posted, and click here for my new Avengers Doomsday videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.